All right, this is Danny with the Athlete Think Tank. I'm here with Jermaine Curtis, Vance Albitz, and Adam Melker, who all play AA or higher in minor league baseball. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about slumps and some specific aspects of what a slump is, recognizing a slump, adjustments it takes to get out of a slump, etc. So Vance, what is the longest time you've gone without getting a hit?
0 for 24.
And you know that for fact.
Yes.
Jermaine?
0 for 24. Wow. I can't pinpoint, but I know it's been at least 0 for 15. At least 0 for 15.
Yeah, I would say mid-20s, late 20s. Definitely.
Woo!
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, that's only a week. A week and a half. So I'm somewhere around there. I don't know. I try to forget those.
A week and a half, but it feels like about 6 months.
Yeah, it's 6 months. And
okay, for me, the key is with a slump is it's okay if I'm doing well and then I hit the little rut and where, you go from 300 to 280. Right. But last year I started 0 for 14. So in my head, I'm going, okay, if I don't get a hit this game, 0 for 16, or I got to get 4. If I go 4 for 4 this game, I'm hitting 200 still. So that was kind of my introduction to what a pro ball slump is.
The slump starts with you're getting hits, and then you start lining out, and you start getting out, and then you have this period where there's little space where it's like, all right, I can either forget it and like try to move forward, but then you start to get frustrated, and then you start tanking. You have to like be mentally tough and be like, all right, that's the game. Like I'm doing the right things, but most of us like, I need a hit. I need a hit. And that's when it just starts getting bad.
I would say when the feeling of desperation creeps in, that's when you know you're in the middle of your slump.
But how do you recognize? Do you see? Is it just seeing the ball different, or what is it?
I think for me, it's definitely vision, because when I'm in a slump, nothing looks like it's hittable to me. The ball looks small,
and the pitcher's throwing strikes.
The pitcher's throwing strikes. It's moving. I just cannot see the ball when I'm in a slump, and it's whether it's mechanical or whatever. I just feel like my vision is just terrible.
Yeah. I think for me, it's like a process. It can snowball, like you were saying. There's 2 ways to get in a slump. There's one where it's a legitimate slump and there's just something you're doing wrong. And then there's another one where you're hitting liners and you're getting out, and before you know it, you're 0 for 8, 0 for 12. But maybe there's nothing really wrong with your swing.
And then you think
Then you start thinking, you're like, I need to get a hit. You start changing things, and then you get into a slump. So I think there's definitely 2 different ways.
So is there anything you've learned to go back to since you've played a few seasons?
Yeah, that's why I try to, and I think this is why all people try to keep it simple, because when things speed up, it's easier to just go back to something that's really easy to do, really easy to grasp, like concept-wise or mechanically. And that's what I've been trying to do the last 2 years, and I think it's helped.
So I know for me, I think I'm decent at kind of minimizing a slump. So like if I'm 0 for 8 and I'm not hitting the ball well, it's like you said, that's really not mental. It's more if something's physically wrong. So I was taught to, when I was young, spread out. It's almost like you have 2 strikes on you from the start. You spread out and try to keep your head from moving. So you see, it's all starting to see in the balls for me.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is once you realize that there is something wrong, just change something. Whether it's where you stand in the box or, whether you are just doing something different, spreading out, relaxing something. But at some point, when you realize that something's wrong, just change something and think about it logically. Why am I in a slump? I'm popping everything up. Well, what's the adjustment there? I'm striking out way too much. What's the adjustment there? But if you look at it and you take all the emotion out of it and you just look at the facts of what you're actually doing at the plate, there's a chance that you could simplify it and find a barrel, and then all of a sudden you get a hit, and then it snowballs in, and all of a sudden you're rolling again.
Right.
Yeah. I think sometimes as a baseball player, we start to overthink things. You know what I mean? And like you get in a slump. I mean, this has happened. Like when I first got into pro ball, this is how I would deal with the slump. I would go, oh, I'm in a slump. Okay, I'm taking 50 swings off the tee, 50 more swings, 50 flips, 50 off the machine. I would just swing, and then I would change stuff up. I would like, okay, this time, this a bat, I'm a bat open. I'm a bat closed, this a bat. I'm just playing with stuff, and I never like really like knew the answer. And I think now, since I'm more mature, I realize that I trust myself and I trust my ability, and I go back to my strength. I look at what I do best. I hit the ball to the opposite field, so I'll take it from little step by step. I'll say, okay, you know what? This at bat, I'm going to just hit a ball to the opposite field. If I get it out, that's a plus. And I start to just take it from baby steps. Okay, I hit the ball second base. Did I hit it hard? The next at bat, I hit it hard to second base. Wow, I'm getting better. Next thing you know, blooper to first base. Oh, I'm staying on the right side. I'm working to my strengths. Next thing you know, there's going to be a hit. And then I'll just start rolling from there.
Yeah. There's real value in knowing what you did that at bat too, because baseball is just so much failure. So you can fail but not really be doing anything wrong, and in the long run, that's going to pay off because you're doing things right. Just recognizing, like you said, if you smoke a ball at a guy, you're upset, but you need to know that that is the swing, and you stay consistent with it. Something that when I was younger, and still sometimes I catch myself doing when I'm in a slump, is like you said, I jump from one thing to the next. It's like I'll give a straight up stance a shot. If I don't get a hit there, I'll spread out. If I don't get a hit there, I'll change my hands, and it's just like you have no chance at that point, especially at the higher levels, because there's going to be less room for error. You're going to get less pitches to hit. So if you're changing everything around, you're going to struggle.
Yeah, I want to clarify one thing. When I said if you're in a slump, something has to change, that doesn't necessarily mean, okay, this time I'm going to be narrow, next time my hands are going to be here. Right. Sometimes it's as simple as, hey, I'm going to compete in this at bat. I'm going to forget about my mechanics for a second, and I'm just going to be competitive. Maybe you need to change your approach. Maybe I'm looking in, and I should be looking away. This guy's a guy that pounds the outside half or something. So when I say change something, I don't necessarily just mean something in your mechanics. Mm-hmm. Anything, whether it's mentality, your approach, just something, whether you need to just see the ball better.
So just a way to minimize it without overthinking it. Mm-hmm. Just minimize everything and just be short and simple. And go back to what's got you there. That's what I try to think of.
A mentor once told me, a baseball mentor, he said, when you get in a slump, go up to the plate and swing as hard as you can. Don't think about it. Don't try to baby your swing. Don't try to feel your swing. Just get there, compete, and swing as hard as you can. Just eliminate all the other things that's going through your head. Because most of the time, I know when I'm in a slump, I'm feeling. I'm not competing in the batter's box. I'm feeling in the batter's box. Oh, my hands here. Yeah. My feet should be here. Oh, when I was successful, I put my feet in the back of the box. You know what I mean? I'm thinking. And he just said, eliminate all that and just swing hard. I mean, there's to each their own, but, that may be something that could help someone.
I think another thing that's helped me also is, it's one of the hardest things to do, is to stay positive and try to take good things even when maybe they don't look that good. Any kind of progression is good, because we all know that one linea can get you completely out of an 0 for 15 or an 0 for 20 or whatever. So, if you're driving the ball and maybe you're not getting hits, you need to understand that you're close.
Yeah, and just going on top of that, kind of being like a grown adult about that, and just accepting things aren't going to go perfect every single game, every single season. This is going to happen. This is a part of baseball.
Yes.
And just accepting that and saying, all right, now let's figure this out. Let's get past this. Let's be positive. Let's not beat myself up. Let's not pout. Let's not start getting depressed. Let's just understand that this is a part of the game.
Everyone does it. Everyone goes through it.
I'm not perfect. No one's perfect. So let's go ahead and get out of this now.
And that's a clear difference between a guy who's a veteran and a guy who hasn't had many at-bats under his belt. And even veteran like you guys, to even Carlos Beltran, veteran. So, I mean, you see it, they know, they trust the process, as kind of cliche as that sounds. They know what works for them, they've had their success, and they just stick to it, and I think that shortens the amount of time that they're in their slump.
So it's kind of, for me, it's just confidence. I know you feel this big when you're in a slump, and you feel for me, when I'm mental, it's when I was younger, it's I'm getting out. I got myself out before I went up to the plate when I'm in a slump, instead of just stick to what you're working on, whatever, short, easy things, and be positive. For me, it's just positive And I found, if I can just shorten up, stay positive.
Yeah, something that I think is also interesting on this topic is one of the guys we play with, Mike O'Neill. He's one of the only guys I've never really seen get into a slump.
Yeah.
And the reason is he lets the ball get. This is his approach. He lets the ball get deep, and he tries to shoot a single to left field. He's a lefty. He tries to shoot a single to the opposite field. And thinking about that, it makes sense why he doesn't get into slumps, because he's always seeing the ball deep, and his approach is basically what you want to get back to when you're in a slump, to see the ball and then try to hit a single or shoot the ball that way or something. So that's just something to maybe think about if you do get into a slump, something to try.
So what do you think about guys who just natural pull hitters who are in a slump, and their thing isn't to hit a ball to right field? Do you think it would be the same approach? See the ball deep, or is it just because a lot of guys are just pull hitters.
I mean, something maybe to try in batting practice then.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can still see the ball deep and catch it out in front.
What did Lenny Harris tell us about Eddie Murray?
He said Eddie Murray, every single BP, he hit a line drive over the shortstop's head if he was a lefty. Every swing he tried to hit a line drive over the shortstop's head. If he switched to righty, line drive over the second baseman's head. He said he's never seen Eddie Murray hit a home run in batting practice. And that's a guy that's had 500-plus home runs in his career.
That's like...
never seen him hit a home run in batting practice.
That's like Wade Boggs. One of our coaches talks about Wade Boggs as like was a teammate, but it's like his mentor, idol of hitting. And he says in BP, in the cage, there could be 15,000 people before a game, and Wade Boggs tries to hit every pitch off the L screen. Like he's almost mad if he misses a ball for a fly ball, a deep fly ball off the fence. It's like every pitch is going off the L screen. That's how he gets prepared. He doesn't care if anyone's watching, not trying to show anyone up. That's just his approach.
I heard a similar story about Derek Jeter. There was like an all-star game. Derek Jeter's hitting in BP, and he's hitting he's hitting line drives over the second baseman's head. And, it's all-star game, so everyone's there. Everyone wants to see home runs. And I forget the guy who went up to Derek Jeter, but they went up to Derek Jeter and said, "Hey, man, it's the all-star game. Let it go. Have some fun. Let loose." And he turns to him and says, "I learned a long time ago that I wasn't going to catch Babe Ruth."
Yeah. All right, perfect. I mean, I think that's a good way to end it. Is just, so first of all, it's recognize you're in a slump, being mentally tough enough and professional enough to realize that you might need to think more positive, stay positive, or make just a little small adjustment. But I think we'd all agree you just need to go back to being positive and trying to get back to the simple things you've always done growing up to be successful. So if you want to watch more videos, just log on to spuddle.com or the Athlete Think Tank, the YouTube channel, and we'd like to hear comments, questions, concerns. Thanks again.